The Black Dalek Leader was the highest-ranking Black Dalek, and by extension one of the most powerful and influential Daleks in the entire race's hierarchy next to the Dalek Emperor and the Dalek Prime. The Black Dalek Leader held the rank of Dalek Supreme, and was believed to be the first Dalek to hold the rank, establishing an unofficial Master Supreme Dalek who, despite being one of many Supreme Daleks, was considered to be the ultimate Dalek Supreme authority of the Supreme Council. This position would later be taken by the Golden Black Dalek Supreme from the Second Dalek War, and the position would later evolve into an advisory position for the Emperor that was similar to the status of the Dalek Time Controller in the pre-Time War years, the Dalek Time Strategist during the Time War, and the Supreme Dalek of the Parliament of the Daleks during the era of the New Dalek Paradigm. Although it was not the only Black Dalek in existence during its lifetime, the Black Dalek Leader was considered to be the superior unit to all other Black Daleks, illustrated by its elaborate casing with gold and silver detailing. This Dalek was considered irreplaceable by the Dalek Prime, and played an important part in establishing the Daleks as a significant power in the universe during their early expansionist period. One of the earliest known tasks that the Black Dalek Leader performed for the Emperor was battling Zeg, a rogue Dalek scientist who had created Metal Earth. The Black Dalek was later infected with a rust plague while the Emperor was off-planet leading their invasion force, and would have allowed itself to die in order to save other Daleks from infection had the Emperor not intervened and ordered that the Black Dalek Leader be repaired and reforged to ensure that it could continue to serve the Daleks. At times when the Emperor Dalek was off-planet conducting invasions, the Black Dalek was given supreme authority over Skaro, and it took to resting in a nutrient tank when its casing was not required. It would transfer itself from its stationary tank to a casing if reports of Thal attacks or incursions from hostile alien species were received, but otherwise it conducted operations from a large stationary throne room. At some point following the Dalek's early expansionist period, the Emperor Dalek took on the stationary casing and oversaw operations on Skaro, and the Black Dalek Leader was placed in command of the Dalek invasion forces. It led many campaigns against the Mechanoids and other enemies of the Daleks. Alongside the highest-ranking Red Dalek, the Black Dalek formed part of a small council of powerful Daleks who advised the Emperor on important matters. This small council of Daleks would later go on to become the Supreme Council, who ruled the Dalek Empire during the era of the Second Dalek War. During the First Dalek War, the Black Dalek Leader led the Dalek invasion of Earth, designating itself Controller and concocting a plan to transform Earth into a massive superweapon to use against the other powers of the Milky Way galaxy. During this time, the Black Dalek Leader led a force of many Daleks, including its subordinate Saucer Commander, as well as other minions such as converted Robomen and its pet Slither, a monstrous predatory creature imported from Skaro. This Black Dalek was outwitted by Barbara Wright, who almost succeeded in derailing the Daleks' plans, but she was stopped at the last moment when the Black Dalek realised her deception. However, Dalek operations on Earth were subsequently stopped by a human rebellion led by the Doctor. The Black Dalek was aboard the only surviving saucer from the invasion, and was forced to report back to Skaro in disgrace. As a result, this Dalek dispatched a squadron of advanced time-travelling Dalek pursuers, temporal assassins who were tasked with exterminating the Doctor at any cost. This effort failed, however, as after a lengthy chase, the pursuer Daleks were all destroyed, the final group ironically being wiped out by Mechanoids, the very species that the Black Dalek Leader had crusaded against in his earliest conquests. In the meantime, the Black Dalek Leader continued his campaigns against the enemies of the Daleks, but for hundreds of years it avoided human space, preying on weaker species and biding its time until the opportune moment to strike emerged. In this time, however, the Daleks engaged in rising hostilities with the Space Security Service, and by the year 4000 the Black Dalek Leader was overseeing Dalek operations on the planet Kemble, planning on unifying outlying warlike races into a great alliance to crush humanity once and for all. However, this was all a ruse designed to mask the Black Dalek's greater plan of using a time destructor to destroy both humanity and the members of the Great Alliance. These operations were once again disrupted by the Doctor, which caused the Black Dalek to become more and more aggravated, as it exterminated members of the Alliance and even other Daleks for their failures to capture the Doctor. The Doctor was able to sabotage the Dalek's time destructor, so when it was finally activated, it wiped out all the Daleks on Kemble, eradicating the Great Alliance and the Dalek force assembled there. An alternate timeline was briefly created following a temporal collision between the First and Second Doctor's respective TARDISes, which meant that the First Doctor never landed on Kemble, and the Time Destructor was subsequently activated, forcing the majority of the galaxy to surrender to the Daleks. The Black Dalek Leader led the Dalek fleet in its conquest of all the major galactic powers, but the Second Doctor was able to avert this timeline and restore the original role of the First Doctor in sabotaging the Black Dalek Leader's plans and destroying the Daleks on Kemble. The Black Dalek Leader was subsequently lost, forcing the Emperor Dalek to rely on expanded council of subordinate Black Daleks while a replacement Dalek warlord was found. However, the original Black Dalek Leader had managed to survive the Time Destructor, albeit in a severely damaged state. The Black Dalek Leader limped back to Dalek space, but during his absence, there was a significant upheaval in Dalek leadership. The original Dalek Emperor was attacked by rebel Daleks on Skaro, and the Supreme Council took up leadership of the Dalek Empire, with a new Supreme Dalek as their de facto leader. During this time, the rank of Gold Dalek was introduced, and Black Daleks became more commonplace commanders in the Dalek hierarchy, leading to some confusion over how exactly the Black Dalek Leader fit into the new Dalek hierarchy. Some accounts suggest that this Dalek went on to hold significant power of the Dalek Empire following the disappearance of the Supreme Dalek on Spyridon, up until the Dalek Mavellan War. During the war, the Dalek Empire was fractured, and a prominent Black Dalek leader went on to lead a significant sect of the former Dalek Empire that continued to fight against the Mavellans, employing human mercenaries and using captured alien ships to continue their campaign to conquer the universe. Not all sources concur that the Black Dalek who led the primary Dalek faction during the aftermath of the Mavellan War is the same original Black Dalek leader who led Dalek forces during the First Dalek War, the Dalek Mechanoid War, and the Kemble campaign. Some sources suggested that several subordinate Black Daleks had existed before and during the Mavellan War, and that the Black Dalek who attempted to rescue Davros and take over Earth and Gallifrey with an army of duplicates was a different unit altogether, who perished when the self-destruction of Davros's prison station destroyed his ship. Other sources suggest that this Black Dalek had transmattered to a secret location and therefore survived the destruction of his ship, and would go on to lead the Renegade Daleks in the civil war against Davros's Imperial faction, before meeting his final end at the hands of the Seventh Doctor, self-destructing after all trace of Daleks in the universe was seemingly wiped out by the combined destruction of Skaro, Davros's mothership, and the Renegade Dalek army. Indeed, many sources concur that the true final end of the original Black Dalek leader actually occurred at the climax of Davros's trial, which this Black Dalek presided over. After concluding that Davros was a danger to the Daleks who should not be allowed to lead them, the Black Dalek leader was destroyed by Davros's Daleks after attempting to assume the title of Dalek Emperor, which Davros then claimed for himself, as lesser Black Daleks scrambled to take command of Dalek forces, which had now been labelled the Renegade Daleks. Regardless of whether or not the Black Dalek leader met his end at the start of the Dalek Civil War or at its end, the fact remains that he is one of the most successful and infamous Dalek leaders in history, conducting some of the most famous Dalek operations, surviving several encounters with their greatest enemy, and surviving through several permutations of the Dalek Empire is no small feat for an individual Dalek, and it's safe to say that this particular Black Dalek is one of the most notable Daleks in the history of their entire species, up there with the likes of the original Dalek Emperor, the Gold and Black Supreme Dalek, and Dalek Sec. What do you think of the original Black Dalek leader? Are there any other notable appearances of this Dalek that weren't mentioned in this video? What's your favourite individual appearance of this Dalek? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bumps.